So when we came back, like almost everyone was struggling, and life had changed.
Yeah.
Yes, so no one wanted to willingly take on a whole family. It's like, how do you know what I mean? Where are you gonna get the resources? So we moved from house to house. The other day I was thinking about it and I counted. I think we lived in like 20 homes.
What?
Yeah, in 20 homes. I lived with my uncle and aunts, lived with some friends, it was just, okay, let's wait. They'll be tired of us any minute now. They're tired of us? Cool, let's go. So it's almost like while you're here, you are preparing to where you're gonna go next, right? So it was like that. And of course, coming back to Lusaka for me, trying to get into the new education system. The education system in South Africa is completely different to what it is here. And you know, this is when I realized that Zambians really, we study. Like we in South Africa, they make things so easy for you. You do all these assignments and whatnot, these projects, build a shani, you know. But in Zambia, it's like, my friend, you need to know this textbook. If you don't know this textbook,
I'm sorry,
you are gonna fail. We actually want you to fail. So just learn this thing. Learn this thing. So it was like, yeah. So like, you know, now adjusting to the new way of life.
And were you now jumping from school to school because of
yes,
all these houses?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and you see, the main reason why that was the case. So my uncle, who kept us for years, he found a job in the copper belt. But we wanted to. My mom wanted us to learn from in Lusaka, right? So now, so we couldn't go there. So because we want to get our education here, we had to move around Lusaka, living in different people's homes, so that we can stay at the schools that are in Lusaka. Right?
I get.
Yeah. So now. But even then, you know, because now you find, okay, you go to this school, the school fees are too high. So like, and also just in South Africa, in my class, we were maybe like 20 of us. And then I come here, and then the first private school I go to, maybe we're like 30. And then before I know it, I'm in a school where we are like 80 in the class. So it's like no attention. They don't even know your name. The teacher just says, hey, you, making noise, stop. You know what I mean? Because like you had too many. So it's like, it was just.
I've not even thought of it like that. The teacher didn't even know your
name.
Right.
I mean, they eventually knew my name because, you know, obviously,
you're a tyrant.
I was a tyrant, yeah, right. So they would know, like, oh, this guy. So eventually I went to...
And just, your name is Magnus.
My name is Magnus. Magnus Mando. Okay. Yeah, that's my name, yeah. So, yeah, so even back then, they would call me Magnum44. I don't know, people found it hard to pronounce Magnus.
Okay.
So they would so they found it easier to pronounce Magnum.
Yeah.
So that's how people would call me, because obviously at the time, all these Biggie Smalls, DMX, they would all rap about owning a Magnum 44.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, Magnum 44. So from there, you know, so that's pretty much where the name started.
Yes.
Yeah. So then
it's crazy. They couldn't say Magnus, so they said Magnum.
Yes, and it was just replacing the letter. Replace the letter M with an S, and you have the it was just difficult. So it's but I.
But because you've mentioned this DMX, and that's what you're listening to.
Yes. Now at this time, I'm totally engrossed, especially after the Eminem era. Like I really went into hip hop, so I'm listening to, DMX, Jaru, obviously now in 50 Cent that dish. So now the whole 50 Cent G Unit, listening a bit to Ludacris, Busta Rhymes, all these different guys, you know. And
hip hop was
was my thing. Like hip hop was my thing.
And you're still rapping.
I'm still yes. Now I'm even rapping more. I'm dodging classes to go to a studio.
Hold on, to go to the studio. What was your first time then in a studio?
My first time in a studio, I was like 15. That was the first time I went into a studio.
Here?
In Lusaka, yes.
Okay.
I never went to... In South Africa, I went to a... there was a guy who had like this keyboard. It was an amazing keyboard. So you could sort of layer the different tracks and make a beat on the keyboard.
Like a PSR?
Something like that, yes. So basically what happened was when I went to... when I came back to Zambia, so maybe let me just mute it, so that I don't, because otherwise it will lead me to several other phone calls. So what happened was doing my so obviously trying to find my way in high school and whatnot. I would dodge classes to obviously try and record a song or whatever.
But you're telling us about your first time in studio.
Oh, my first time in studio, yes. So my first time in studio was at a studio called CV Studios, I think. And I remember we had to pay the equivalent of $10, I think, to record a song. No, actually. Yeah, about $10, yeah. So, and obviously that $10 was, I had to, we had to hustle for that $10. Everybody had to put money together. And then when we got to the studio, there was like a queue of, I think, about 50 people who wanted to record songs. So there was no scheduling. So what would happen is you would basically, when you wait your turn. So when you're in the studio, you're given an hour to record everything, produce, mix, everything. By the time you're done, you get the song. Yeah. So, and if you're not done, they will just say, sorry man, your time is done. So when we got there, I don't know how we found ourselves like in line. And now this producer like had no idea what, so we are singing the song to him and he just didn't, he didn't, it's like he didn't understand what we were trying to make.
He didn't understand the genre.
Yes, he didn't understand
anything,
it. Right, yes. So now I had to start giving him all the sounds that I want in the beat. And because I think it was during that time when I realized that, when I listen to a song, I very rarely hear the lyrics. First thing that I hear is the music. I just never thought that was the case. I just thought I loved music because of the artist. But I realized later on that, I love it because of the music.
Exactly.
Like how musically the artist is doing, like the sounds, the tune, the patterns, the melody, like those would draw me into a song, yeah. So now it was just like, the guy was just making something, so it was like, I would have to guide and say, okay, I wanna add this and that. And of course he was very rigid. So, in my mind, I just thought, you know what, we'll just get what we can out of this song and, and we'll leave it as is. So we made the song. It was me and two of my friends, one of them who's like a best friend to me right now still. So after we did that song, I remember we took it to radio and then like it played.
Oh, it played?
It played.
Bro, it played.
It played,
What is the name of this song?
It was called The African Queen.
Your first hit.
Yeah, first hits. So it was crazy because it was up against like big artists at the time. And then like people would vote for it, like in its crappy state. I mean, the mix was terrible. But then, like people would be like, oh yeah, I like that song. And a friend of mine who's passed on now, Boogie C, he was a DJ who always pushed our stuff. Like he didn't care. He would just push it like, guys, this is the latest, the hottest song on the planet right now. And like, and everyone would be like, would wanna like listen to it. So first of all, what year was this that song got played? So this was in 2002.
2002.
2002.
So and at this time when that song is played, are you like, yo, this is what I want to do with my life?
Yes, I was like that. But with it, I think like there was always there was always a lesson. So like, you know, when the song came out and I just thought, okay, you know what, we're going to be famous, bro. Like, we're going to stop school. We've made it. You know what I mean? But luckily my friend was more logical than I was. So he's like, I'm going to finish my school first. I'll finish my high school and then I'll try and, okay, cool. But I was just like, you know what, guys, we're going to blow. This is it. And I remember we were invited to perform at a gig. So we went to this gig and then we performed the song. And like, people were just like looking at us like, what are these guys doing? So like, I mean, like we sang this song and whatnot and no one was like, so we thought, okay, I don't know, maybe these people just, because you see, the thing was, when the songs would play on radio, like people would be calling in, oh, it's a good song, what, these, you know, these guys are great and whatever. But I guess we thought that, oh, once it plays on radio, it translates that everyone. The whole Zambia knows it. But it was just a couple, it wasn't that many plays, and it was just one DJ. So when
a reality check.
Yeah, it was a serious reality check. So after that, and then like these other guys came and performed. I'll never forget these guys. They were called Ghetto Boys. And they came and they sang their song. No one knew it, but the way they performed it, like they had energy. These guys on the table, this guy, like everybody's just, they're jumping around and they're just like gangsters. And like everyone was just like, these guys are the ones. And I was just like, yes. I said, oh snap. So that's how we went back to that same studio, found another $10 equivalent, and said like, we want to change this song, we want to add more like dance hall to it or whatever, and you know, just make it. So we did that.
On the same song?
On the same song, yeah.
African
Queen, yeah. So actually, so what we did was, we said, you know what, we need to go to the best producer in Zambia, the one, and we need to raise this money. So that's how we raised, I think he charged at the time, his name is TK, and we raised, I think it was basically like equivalent to like $100 or something.
Yo, so how are you raising this money?
Hey, you know, when I'm sent to buy bread, like I keep some of the money, the change. And Terry was excellent with money. He was really good with money. So we knew, okay, we just give Terry whatever we make, and he would, up to now, Terry, like I know that if like, you know, we can be in the bush somewhere and Terry has money, it's fine. So we raised that money and went back to the studio, and then TK made this beat, like, and you know, I always ask him when I see him now, I'm like, bro, do you remember when I came and he's just like, no, I know you now, but I don't remember you. I can't remember that song, I can't remember anything, because and like, you know, and he made this beat. It was literally, he made that beat in like 30 minutes. And I was just like, this guy is amazing. So like, after we made that song, took it out, then like, you know, people would, so then we got another gig, I remember, like a college was having like a miss, I don't know, it was like a beauty pageant anyways. So they asked us to sing before. So
that's the remix or the second version of this song, the one produced by TK.
Yes.
It now did better.
It did better, yes, it did better, because now a few more radio stations played it. But it still wasn't like, I don't know how to call it. It's still, in my mind, I was like, this is a hit song. You know what I mean? But it wasn't enough. Because it wasn't enough. Yes, it didn't penetrate completely. So like, from that moment, then we went to that beauty pageant, same thing. They looked at us weird, like, okay, these kids are just... And at the time, rap music wasn't really accepted in Zambia. It was still, rap music wasn't a popular. The Zambians loved like R&B and just like a bit of Afro-popish sound.
Yeah. And in terms of your lyrics, were you English? Were you mixing it up?
English. No local in the lyrics.
No local.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. So we were completely. We were like So like, you know, I couldn't understand it. I was like, but you Zambians, we listen to the news in English. Why don't you want to accept my song? That's so. It's like we just. I don't know. Like the music just couldn't connect because it was English. That was another major lesson I learned.
Okay.
So yeah. So we did that show, and you know.
Are you guys? What's the group called? Are you a
at
group?
the time we were called 3D.
3D.
3D, yes. We were called LXG before. There was that League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Yeah, so, and then a bigger artist told us, like, your name is too, I don't know, it's too long. Like, just maybe simplify it, make it 3D. And then we did that. But it didn't last very long. I know I've explained a lot about this.
Cool.
It was just like, it was just like a year or two, and it was done.
Yeah. So
Right.
when does it get done? After you now enter, do you finish high school?
I do finish high school, yes, by like, I don't do by some miracle. Because I mean, I was out of school all the time. Like because now what ended up happening is, because my mom didn't like the idea, like with the way we were moving around. And actually what happened was, so she was trying to make us sort of settle, and what happened was my mom then as she was making plans towards that, she got a job at a church where she was a lecturer at their Bible school, and then she got an opportunity to go work at a major school in the US. So and you know, we're really excited about that, and we're thinking, okay, things are now finally starting to, you know, look up. And then suddenly my mom got sick until she passed on.
What?
Yeah. So when she passed on, it's like now we basically had to start from scratch now. Like, okay, what do we do?
Man.
Yeah. So now